In a political landscape marked by internal fractures and public skepticism, the Democratic Party finds itself grappling with a crisis of credibility exacerbated by the recent announcement of a tell-all memoir from former White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre. Titled Independent, A Look Inside a Broken White House Outside the Party Lines, the book has ignited fierce debate among party insiders and analysts alike as it promises to unveil unflattering truths about former President Joe Biden and his administration. Jean-Pierre's memoir comes at a time when the Democratic Party is facing significant electoral challenges, having lost control of the White House, the Senate, and the House of Representatives. Critics are quick to label her a grifter, accusing her of capitalizing on her tenure in the Biden administration to profit from disclosures that paint her former colleagues in a negative light. As Nicole Russell, an opinion columnist for USA Today, pointed out, the release of Jean-Pierre's book raises pressing questions about the motives behind her timing. Why now, when the administration's reputational damage is already stark? The book reportedly delves into the Biden administration's attempts to obscure the president's declining health, both mental and physical, from voters. Such revelations echo themes found in recent publications, including Original Sin by journalists Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson, which similarly critiques the extent to which Biden's team concealed the truth regarding his cognitive capabilities during pivotal moments such as his disastrous debate with Donald Trump. This trend of late-stage revelations only deepens the sense of betrayal felt by many within the party and among its supporters as trust erodes further. Former colleagues of Jean-Pierre have not held back in their criticism. Caitlin Legacki, a Democratic strategist, expressed her disbelief at Jean-Pierre's claims of betrayal, asserting that the Biden campaign's efforts to retain electoral votes were nothing short of heroic. This backlash highlights a growing rift among Democrats, with some feeling that internal dissent and finger-pointing only serve to distract from the larger issues at play, including the party's dwindling support among voters. As the Democratic Party continues to fracture, its leadership faces the daunting task of rebuilding trust and credibility. With the GOP's dominance across various political arenas, the stakes are higher than ever. The internal conflict fueled by Jean-Pierre's revelations may have significant ramifications as the party navigates the turbulent waters ahead. Meanwhile, in another corner of the political arena, Mississippi Democratic Party Chairman Chuck Taylor has raised concerns over Elon Musk's proposed XAI supercomputer facility in Memphis. Taylor's coalition, which includes environmental and civil rights organizations, argues that the project poses significant risks to the health of nearby communities, particularly for Black residents. Taylor's rhetoric challenges Musk's perceived credibility, questioning whether the tech mogul can be trusted to prioritize community welfare over profits. The juxtaposition of economic development against environmental and social justice issues is a critical dialogue that resonates deeply within the Democratic base. As the Democratic Party continues to wrestle with its identity and priorities, figures like California Governor Gavin Newsom are stepping into the fray. Newsom's recent confrontations with the Trump administration over immigration policy not only position him as a staunch defender of state rights but also as a potential contender for the Democratic presidential nomination in 2028. His bold statements against Trump's deployment of military forces to quell protests highlight a strategic maneuver to rally support among a base that craves strong leadership. In this complex political landscape, the Democratic Party stands at a crossroads. With internal dissent, external pressures, and a need to reaffirm its commitment to transparency and ethical governance, the coming months will be pivotal. As former allies turn into critics and voters remain skeptical, the party must grapple with its past while forging a path toward a more unified and trustworthy future. The implications of these developments will undoubtedly shape the 2024 electoral landscape and beyond, challenging Democrats to rethink their strategies and priorities in an increasingly polarized environment. In a significant shift for the Montana Republican Party, Don K. Kaltschmidt, who has been at the helm for 6 years, has announced he will not seek a fourth term as chairperson. His tenure has been marked by substantial victories for Republicans, including sweeping the 2020 elections and unseating an incumbent U.S. Senator in 2024. As the party gears up for new leadership, a four-way race has emerged to shape the future direction of the GOP in the state, with the outcome to be decided at the state convention later this month. Kaltschmidt's leadership has transformed the party's operations from a seasonal effort to a year-round organization. Initially approached by prominent Republicans like U.S. Representative Greg Gianforte and U.S. Senator Steve Daines in 2019, Kaltschmidt took on the challenge to cultivate a more robust party presence. He reflected on this transformative period, saying, "When I came on board, things were starting to shift our way, but we needed a strong party to help guide things in that direction." Under his guidance, the Montana GOP flipped all statewide elected offices to Republican control in 2020, culminating in a historic all-GOP delegation in Congress after Tim Sheehy defeated Democrat Jon Tester. "We've accomplished all the goals we talked about in 2019, Kaltschmidt noted, emphasizing the importance of sustaining this momentum as the party navigates its new reality as a dominant political force. However, Kaltschmidt's departure comes at a time when internal divisions have surfaced within the party. The 2025 legislative session saw 9 Republican senators break ranks to collaborate with Democrats, prompting unprecedented censure from the state party. Kaltschmidt called their actions selfish and underscored the necessity of loyalty among party members to maintain unity and effectiveness. "It was a very sad day for the Republican Party," he lamented, indicating that the next chairperson must focus on healing these rifts. As the party prepares for its upcoming convention, 4 candidates are vying for Kaltschmidt's seat: Stacey Zinn, Tanner Smith, Art Whittick, and Troy Miller. Each candidate brings a distinct vision for the party's future. Zinn, a former DEA special agent, positions herself as a political outsider who aims to unify the party and prevent complacency. "As Republicans, we need to step up and be part of the solutions," she stated. Conversely, Tanner Smith advocates for a full rebrand of the party, expressing discontent with current leadership and calling for a stricter adherence to core Republican values. He argues that the party has strayed under Kaltschmidt and seeks to establish a framework that holds members accountable. "Our Republican Party needs sideboards and expectations that are met to join our group," Smith asserted. Art Whittick, a former state legislator, emphasizes the necessity of ensuring that conservative voices resonate within the party, advocating for better communication and education regarding candidates during election seasons. He believes that the party's message remains strong but requires refinement to address voter frustrations effectively. Troy Miller, currently serving as the finance chairman for the Gallatin County Republicans, is also in the running but has yet to publicly outline his vision for the party. Kaltschmidt noted Miller's fundraising abilities as a significant asset for the role. With the Montana Republican Party's convention set for June 27 to 28 in Helena, the stakes are high as the candidates prepare to present their visions. Kaltschmidt remains optimistic about the candidates, particularly praising Zinn's leadership and Whittick's experience, while expressing caution regarding Smith's more divisive approach. The decisions made in this convention will not only determine the party's leadership but will also shape the trajectory of the GOP in Montana as it seeks to maintain its newfound dominance while addressing internal challenges. As the Montana Republicans stand at this crossroads, the outcome of the leadership transition will be pivotal not only for the party's internal cohesion but also for its strategy in future elections. The next chairperson will need to navigate the complexities of a diverse party landscape, ensuring that it remains a united front in the face of ongoing political challenges. The future of the Montana GOP hinges on this moment, as it strives to solidify its power and influence in a rapidly evolving political environment. In a move that could reshape the legislative landscape for clean energy initiatives, a prominent Republican senator is advocating for a revision of the start date requirements associated with clean energy tax credits. This call comes amidst growing concerns regarding the United States' commitment to renewable energy and its implications for the economy. The senator's stance highlights a critical intersection of policy and environmental responsibility as the nation grapples with its energy future. On June 10, 2025, the senator urged the U.S. Senate to consider amending the timeline that governs the eligibility for these tax credits, which are essential for promoting investments in clean energy technologies. We need to ensure that the incentives for clean energy are not only robust but also accessible, he stated. Adjusting the start date can provide the necessary flexibility to stimulate growth in this vital sector. This perspective aligns with the increasing bipartisan recognition of the need for a concerted effort towards achieving climate goals while also fostering economic development. In a separate but equally significant development, Senate Banking Committee Democrats have called upon Chairman Tim Scott to adhere to standard legislative procedures concerning a contentious new bill that could dismantle the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau (CFPB). Senator Elizabeth Warren, the committee's ranking member, articulated the urgency of this matter in a letter addressed to Scott. She insisted on the necessity of a markup session for the bill, which she described as potentially undermining financial stability and consumer protections. The American people deserve a fully transparent process, not a secret process for making fundamental changes to our financial system, Warren emphasized. The potential repercussions of both initiatives are substantial. The clean energy tax credits, if amended, could accelerate investments in technologies that reduce carbon emissions and promote sustainability, a key objective of the Biden administration. Conversely, the proposed legislation targeting the CFPB raises alarms among consumer advocates who warn that its passage could lead to a resurgence of predatory lending practices reminiscent of the 2008 financial crisis. The CFPB has returned over $21 billion to consumers wronged by financial institutions, underscoring its vital role in safeguarding American families from exploitation. As the political climate evolves, the implications of these legislative discussions are likely to resonate well beyond Capitol Hill. The push for clean energy tax credits reflects a broader shift towards sustainable practices in various sectors, while the battle over financial regulation highlights the ongoing tensions between consumer protection and corporate interests. Looking ahead, the outcome of these legislative efforts will not only impact the immediate economic environment but also set the tone for future policymaking in the United States. As the country navigates through these pivotal decisions, stakeholders from all sides will be watching closely, anticipating how these developments will shape the nation's approach to energy finance and consumer rights in the years to come. In a significant shift within the U.S. Congress, two notable Republican figures have announced their plans to exit their respective positions, marking a pivotal moment for the GOP as it navigates the complexities of midterm elections and the ongoing political landscape. Congressman Tom Emmer of Minnesota and Representative Mark Green of Tennessee have both made headlines, but for very different reasons. Congressman Tom Emmer, who has been a prominent figure in the House since he was first sworn in on January 6, 2015, is currently serving his sixth term. His political journey has seen him rise through the ranks, having previously served as chairman of the National Republican Congressional Committee during the 116th and 117th Congresses. Recently, he was elected by his peers to serve as House Majority Whip while sitting on the influential House Financial Services Committee. Emmer's extensive experience in Congress follows a robust career in law and local governance in Minnesota, where he also made his mark as a city council member. Conversely, Mark Green's announcement to resign from Congress has caught the attention of political analysts and constituents alike. Green, who chairs the House Homeland Security Committee, revealed on June 9, 2025 that he would step down after the House votes on a key tax and budget policy bill that has garnered support from former President Donald Trump. In his statement, Green cited an exciting opportunity in the private sector that he felt compelled to pursue. His decision comes after a period of wavering. Earlier this year, he declared he would not seek re-election, but later reversed that stance under pressure from colleagues and constituents. Green's tenure has been marked by his staunch advocacy for military and veterans issues, including his opposition to the mandated COVID-19 vaccine for military personnel. His efforts culminated in significant legislative actions, including the Protecting Gold Star Spouses Act and support for the reinstatement of service members wrongfully discharged under previous administration policies. His departure will likely lead to a special election to fill his seat, which Republicans are keen to maintain given their narrow majority in the House. The implications of these departures extend beyond individual careers. They reflect the ongoing challenges and strategic recalibrations within the Republican Party as it prepares for future elections. As political analysts point out, the GOP's narrow 220 to 212 majority in the House means that every vote counts, especially as they seek to pass critical legislation like the tax bill that is currently under consideration. In parallel, Texas Republicans are contemplating a contentious move to redraw congressional district lines ahead of the 2026 midterms. This proposal, discussed in a recent meeting attended by GOP leaders, aims to strengthen their electoral positions by adjusting district boundaries, a process that would require a special session of the Texas legislature. As Representative Pete Sessions noted, this initiative raises questions about the long-term implications for Republican representation and voter distribution across the state. As these developments unfold, the Republican Party faces a critical juncture. The departures of influential members like Emmer Green, coupled with strategic discussions in Texas, highlight a party grappling with the dual challenges of maintaining unity and advancing its legislative agenda amidst a shifting political landscape. Looking ahead, the outcomes of these decisions will undoubtedly shape the GOP's trajectory as it approaches the 2026 midterm elections and beyond. In a landmark case echoing through the corridors of justice, the U.S. Supreme Court is set to deliberate on Villarreal v. Texas, a significant matter concerning the Sixth Amendment right to counsel. At its core, the case probes whether a defendant's constitutional rights are compromised by a court order that restricts communication between a defendant and their legal counsel during a pivotal moment in a trial. This case not only highlights the intricacies of legal representation but also underscores the overarching principles of liberty and justice enshrined in the Constitution. David Asa Villarreal, the defendant in question, has been accused of murder, with his defense hinging on a claim of self-defense. The trial took a critical turn when the presiding judge instituted a pre-planned 24-hour recess after Villarreal had already begun his testimony. During this recess, the court ordered that Villarreal refrain from discussing his testimony with his attorney, a decision that sparked immediate concern regarding its implications for the defendant's Sixth Amendment rights. The Texas Court of Criminal Appeals upheld this ruling, arguing that the order did not violate Villarreal's right to counsel as it only restricted discussion about his specific testimony while permitting conversations about other matters. However, advocates for justice, including the Constitutional Accountability Center (CAC), argue that this interpretation undermines the very essence of the Sixth Amendment, which is designed to protect the rights of the accused. In an amicus brief filed with the Supreme Court, CAC outlined three compelling arguments in support of Villarreal. First, they highlighted that the historical context of the Sixth Amendment reveals its intention to safeguard individual rights against the arbitrary power of criminal prosecutions. The framers, aware of the perils of unrepresented defendants facing well-resourced prosecutors, sought to embed the right to counsel into the fabric of American law. Second, the brief referenced established Supreme Court precedents, notably Getters v. United States, which affirms that defendants are entitled to consult with their attorneys during critical stages of a criminal proceeding, including testimony. The brief argues that by prohibiting Villarreal from discussing his testimony, the trial court effectively stripped him of meaningful access to his legal counsel at a crucial moment, violating the spirit of the Sixth Amendment. Finally, the brief posited that the trial court's order, while limited in scope, inherently restricted Villarreal's ability to prepare a robust defense, thereby contravening the constitutional guarantee of counsel's guiding hand during the most significant aspects of a trial. The implications of this case stretch beyond Villarreal's fate. They resonate with the broader legal community and the public as they raise fundamental questions about the integrity of the judicial process and the rights afforded to defendants in the United States. As the Supreme Court prepares to hear this case, The legal landscape is closely watching not only for the decision itself but for its potential ramifications on the interpretation of the Sixth Amendment. The case serves as a critical reminder of the delicate balance between judicial authority and individual rights, a dynamic that remains vital in the ongoing discourse about justice in America. Legal experts predict that the Supreme Court's ruling could redefine the contours of the right to counsel, impacting future cases where defendants face similar restrictions. In a parallel narrative, Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson recently voiced concerns regarding the atmosphere of intimidation directed at the judiciary, particularly in light of former President Trump's critiques of judges. At a recent judges' conference, Jackson articulated that such attacks are not random and could undermine the democratic fabric of the nation. Her remarks came amidst increasing tensions between the executive branch and the judiciary, raising alarms about the integrity of judicial independence during a tumultuous political climate. As we approach a crucial juncture in the Supreme Court's term, the decisions surrounding Villarreal versus Texas and other significant cases loom large. With multiple high-stakes cases awaiting resolution, the coming weeks promise to be transformative for constitutional law and the interpretation of fundamental rights, ultimately shaping the trajectory of justice in America for years to come. The interplay between judicial authority and individual rights remains a pivotal issue, one that will surely be revisited in the ongoing quest for justice and accountability.